Well, he's a cutie pie. I might put him in Potomac. Okay, yes. Yeah, he can come right on to Potomac.
What's up, Sky Squad? It's your boy DJ Richie Scott back in the building. Yes, we have an exclusive interview with QUINCOCES from the Real Housewives of Miami. And why are we talking to her today? Well, the headline reads, Andy Cohen teases bringing back Real Housewives of Miami to the Peacock network. How he plans to reboot the canceled series for a fourth season. Now, that headline is taken from Reality Blurb. Now, you guys may remember Real Housewives of Miami, and if you don't, let me tell you, it is one of the best housewife franchises ever, particularly season 2, where we had Adriana socking Joanna Krupa in the face. QUINCOCES was a main cast member on that season, and she was also my former co-host at the Daily Flash in Miami. Okay, so I've got a lot of tea that we're gonna be spilling today with Anna. Okay, just listen, y'all got to get into this. But the cool thing is, Andy is planning on bringing this back. Now, he says, I've been really trying to get Peacock to pick up Miami. Now, for those of you guys who don't know, Peacock is NBC Universal's streaming network. Okay, so that is very important to note here. All right. Now, he said this on the November 5th episode of Everything Iconic with Danny Pellegrino. He says, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. I don't know where we are with that, but I have to say the fans of Miami are still very vocal, and so have I been an advocate for Peacock bringing back Miami. Now, he believes that the declining health of Marisol Patton's mother, Elsa Patton, who passed away in May 2019, had a negative impact on the series, which premiered in February 2011 and aired its final season in 2013. Okay, he said, I think Miami, as it was on Bravo, really suffered from Mama Elsa not being around in season 3. She was very sick. I think she was more of an important part of that show than people realized. And the problem with the third season was that the ratings were declining as it went on, and they went down for the reunion, which is usually the opposite of what happens. And I think that went into the decision not to pick it up. He says, the reason that we let it go was I remember the ratings went down toward the end of the season, which never happens. Like, it went down for the reunion. And if it's going to go down toward the end of the season, that's just never a good sign. But anyway, I hear your love all the time and really appreciate the show and the women. Now, the first season featured Leah Black, Adriana Demora, Alexia Echeverria, Larsa Pippen, who you guys may know as the famed Kardashian friend and ex-wife of Scottie Pippen, and also Christy Rice and Marisol Patton. But then the second season, Larsa and Christy left the series, okay? And then they brought in Lisa Hochstein and Joanna Krupa, QUINCOCES, and Karen Sierra. And that season popped. Let me tell you, it popped, all right? Now, if they bring back a fourth season, apparently Joanna Krupa told the Daily Dish in May that she isn't opposed to reprising her role as a housewife. So that is interesting tea as well. But today we have QUINCOCES, who used to practice law, but now she has a culinary empire ahead of her that is just booming, okay? She was my co-host on Daily Flash, and now she's here to give us the real tea on what is going on with the Real Housewives of Miami returning and what her thoughts are. So let's get all the way into it. Anna, what do you think of this?
Look, I think Miami is a great city. I think that it deserves a second chance. I think that I've always felt that the show was cast incorrectly. I don't know, that's kind of like a big statement. Myself included. I know. And I'll tell you why. Because, and maybe, I'm sure a lot of people will disagree with me, but what I've noticed, and I've become a real fan of Real Housewives. I had stopped completely watching it, just like, and I've said this before, whenever I do a show, any kind of show, and now that I'm a veteran of reality TV because I've done so many different things, I tend not to want to watch again because I kind of, I like to be surprised. Same reason I don't eat my own cooking. It doesn't surprise me. I know exactly what it's going to taste like. Well, I know exactly what it's going to be like, so I don't like to watch it. But after I did the auction, and I reconnected with so many of the ladies, reconnected and also connected for the first time with some of the ladies. it just kind of, I got the bug, and now I watch.
But who would you want to see come back? Who would make a good housewife at this point?
Like Leah is a great example. I think Leah's a great housewife, and I think that if they do the show, they should bring her back. Because, I mean, there's a woman that actually goes, the same woman I think that imitates Ramona does an imitation of Leah. And I think that makes people interesting, like Ramona, the iconic people, right? Lisa Rinna, Ramona, Luann. There are so many people out, like, that can imitate them. Like Brad, what's his name? Brad Goreski, whatever, that she does Rinna. And then, so I think people like that are easy to either, whether you want to call it make fun of or imitate, I think those people make the best housewives. I also think that the evolution of the housewife from 2011 is not the housewife from 2020. The housewife from 2020 really bring it in a way that we never did. And, you know, I don't know that bringing back the same group of people will bring a different result in as far as ratings are concerned. I think they need to put some new life into it. I think they need to recast it, not completely, but I think that recasting would be a good idea. I knew about this before Andy mentioned it. I, have dealings with Peacock for other stuff, and so I knew that it was in the works. And I think it's a great idea. Peacock is an amazing network, the brainchild of Cesar Conde, who's amazing. You know how much I love him and how much I respect him. But putting it on Peacock almost makes it seem like it's the redheaded stepchild of the Housewives, right? Because why does everybody else get to be on Bravo? And that, to me, is very telling. I don't know what that means. That's one of the things that I find strange, but maybe it's Andy's way of appeasing the fans, because he really is getting a lot of, I mean, it's constant. Even Danny Pellegrino was saying, Miami didn't get a fair shot. And Leah has famously said that she didn't believe that ratings were the reason, because the ratings really weren't terrible. Season 2 had great ratings. It really did. And, the idea that the reason that season 3 didn't work was because Elsa was sick. Elsa was amazing. Like, I loved her, and I think she's iconic. But I don't believe that that's the whole reason that season 3 didn't work. The producers of the show, they're really good. They do Married to Medicine. They know what's right. But I think that they listened a lot to the cast members, several people that were really involved in production. I was never involved in production. I was like, whatever, just tell me where to be and whatever. But because they didn't know Miami well, they relied on what they were telling them. And I don't know that those things were accurate, and they relied on to the detriment of the show. Season 3, everyone in the show was like 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. They were all, it's like the same person with different hair and makeup, you know what I mean? But they were the same person, and they tried to be so out there. It's like, hey, we're gonna go to Joanna's bachelorette party, and we're gonna get in a hot tub and grab each other's. And it's like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that, because it seemed desperate to me. And I think that the most important thing that people underestimate in these shows is who the audience is. The people who watch Housewives, they might see it as a guilty pleasure, but they're smart people. And they don't want to see this desperate attempt to hold on to ratings, which is what it looked like. And then there was no one left on the show that was really relatable. I hardly participated at all. And I am vanilla. I'm not vanilla because you know that I'm not vanilla, but for a housewife, I'm vanilla. I am. There are things I'm just not willing to do.
Now, I would argue that you're not vanilla at all. I think that you have a lot of personality, contrary to what we saw on the show. I know a different side of you, and it's interesting to me that I feel like the camera or something happened on the show that we didn't really get to see the full personality of you, because your personality is like it's in your face, you know, and we didn't get to see that on camera.
They would get the me that they would get now only because, and by the way, that's not saying that I would do it. I'm just saying you just even watch me on The Prophet. That was me on, people are like, but you were so different. It's like, no, I didn't know what the right thing was. I was very concerned about my girls at the time and being an example to them. Look, it's very hard as a housewife to have a successful relationship and to have really well-adjusted kids. Every woman on Housewives pretends that they're a great mom. They are not great moms, all of them. Not saying that there aren't any, but the majority, it's not their priority. It is not. Their priority is like, tell me my dress is pretty and I got you know what I'm saying? I mean, that's the goal. And that has never been my priority. So, but I can walk and chew gum at the same time. I can do that and I can do everything else. I just feel like that, I probably didn't show myself the way that I could have been, but I do agree that balance is something that people are looking for. I think that the most important thing and what makes a successful housewife is somebody that is aspirational, but is also relatable. And that combination, that is TV magic. And there are very, very few housewives that actually have attained that. And I can honestly tell you that just looking at all the ladies from Miami, I don't know about aspirational, and relatable, look, there's this whole, like on social media, there's this whole humble brag, I went to vote, but I'm in my rolls, or here's my 50 cases of Dom. It's like, I don't know. It's just not, it's vulgar, And so I'm glad the show's coming back, if it does come back. There are people for whom this is everything. In fact, there are people that if they are not cast, I would be afraid for what they would do. I believe they would take their own life. I really do. Because the kind of work that has been done behind the scenes for 7 years, you just watch it on social media, it's so funny to watch. It's kind of tragic. It's really kind of tragic because it's like, there's this whole like living this life on social media where, and you could tell that there's attempts at casting other interesting people that are, wealthy and what, it's just the whole thing. It's like, I just hope these are really good producers. If it's the same ones, they're great. And I hope that they use their gut this time instead of listening to that. And I do hope that, and I don't even have to tell you who I'm talking about, but God, I hope they cast her. I really do. Because what would happen? It's like, listen, everybody on the show needs a prop. Everybody needs a prop. You can't just be there solo, So if you don't have children, my kids were part of my prop. They were, I had Robert, who I was getting to work with. When there was no Robert, Mark wouldn't be on the show because he had the kind of position that he couldn't be on the show. And quite frankly, the kind of man that I would want to be with is probably not one that would want to be on the show. Not that there's a lot of men that were already married to people or met them, like Eddie, who I love and I think is amazing. Tamara's husband. Tamara's like one of the first housewives ever. And Eddie stays low key and he has a business that could benefit from this. But if you're a guy that your business doesn't benefit from this in any way, you gotta be a special kind of guy to partake. And you know me, I like my nerds, so that's why Mark wouldn't have done it, and I don't think that anyone that I'm currently involved with or anything would be willing to do that. I don't know. But so for me, for many reasons, the where my business is going now, and I've got so many exciting things happening that I have to tell you off the record, but it's going to keep me traveling and crazy busy, but I would love to see it come back. I would love to see it come back and done right. I would like them to bring in keep some of the same people. Like I think Lisa Hochstein is another one that's great for the show. She's quintessential Miami. Quintessential. She doesn't apologize for who she is. I am the, gorgeous wife of a plastic surgeon, and I am his muse, and I live the lifestyle. And you need that person. You need that person. She is Miami, yeah. And then Alexia, I also think, is very she reminds me, she's very like the girl from Shit Miami Girls say, she's very literally, I don't, she's that. So that's so Miami. She is the Miami Latina. Textbook, Billboard, Wikipedia. And so she's great. I don't know why she would want to do that, because, but she would have to put so many painful things in her life. Herman's death, the whole thing surrounding Herman's death, Herman's sexuality. She's got a new boyfriend. I think I don't know him, but I kind of read people, and from what I see, I think he would love to be on the show. He seems flashy. He seems very much like Herman. He's like Herman Italian version. So I think he would like it, but I don't know that it would be good for her. She's been through a lot of difficult things in her life, and I think that she should protect her relationship. Maybe the fact that it would be on Peacock would be a more tame kind of show. I don't know, but it's still Housewives, so.
I personally think that both Lisa and Alexia are good choices. And I also feel like they need some new blood. Are there any new ladies or, people on the scene in Miami that we all need to know about that you would cast on the show?
Oh, actually, there's this. It's somebody that I haven't known for very long. On Instagram, it's Revite is her name. Her name is Magda. She's kind of awesome. She's such a badass, and I think she would be amazing. If you look her up, you'll see what I mean. She is unapologetic. She's very self, and I do think that she is relatable, and I think she's aspirational, and I think that's the key. You've been a Housewife fan for a long time. This whole thing of pre-planning your little quips and comebacks on the reunion and all that stuff, which even Andy's face, you see it in his face. It's really? How many times did you practice that shit with your friend from or with your hairdresser, or while the girl was putting on your lash extensions, you really have to be able to think on your feet. And I honestly don't know that from that cast, there's that much of that. The reason I like Lisa is that she thinks on her feet, and whatever comes out, it doesn't matter. It's her. It may not be, it may not be prose. She's not a wordsmith, but it's her, and it's funny, and it's quirky, and I like it, By the way, I think she hates me, but I can, just like Leah doesn't like me either. The other day, somebody asked me if I was going to be on a deserted island with any of my cast, who would I choose? Fucking Leah. Of course, Leah. She's the most resourceful one. She's the only one that's really, that's who I would want. We would each other, but we'd get off the island. We would get off the island. We would. I would venture to say, she might not admit it, but I know that she would choose me too. I think that these ladies, if they were going to do it again, they need to step it up. Because the Housewives that we have come to know and love now are another level. They are another level. It's not about looking pretty and, taking pictures like this. No. You need to be raw. You need to show it. We're not 25 anymore. You know what I mean? We're all middle-aged women. And the middle-aged women who watch us want to feel she's like me.
I agree. These housewives these days, they really are bringing it. Speaking of which, I know that you did the dress auction. You got a lot of media coverage for that. You raised a lot of money for charity, and a lot of housewives participated. Were there any housewives that really stood out to you that you sort of gravitated to and just sort of said, oh my God, I found a kindred spirit?
Yeah. So Monique Samuels, I love her. She's my girl crush. I mean, I love her. I find her just stunning and whatever. I don't care. She can do no wrong in my eyes. So I don't really like when anybody says, "Oh, did you see what Monique did?" I'm like, la 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 la. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I love her. Dolores, I love Dolores. I also think she's beautiful. She's cool. I have a lot in common with her. You know, her relationship with Frank, it reminds me of my relationship with Robert. And I love her. She's very, like, whatever, real. I hate it, the word. It's so cliche, but she is. And I love Tamra. I talk to Tamra all the time. And I'm not one of these people that is after the Housewives. It's like, oh, please, you know, define me. Tell me I'm one of you. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not there seeking, please, I want to be a cameo on like the next, you know.
Well, the great thing about you is that you had a career before Housewives. I mean, you practiced law, and then, you know, during and after Housewives, you really that translated for you into a sort of culinary enterprise that is now extremely successful. So you're kind of someone who is self-sufficient and can do everything on your own. I mean, you're doing, you know, television shows, you're doing all types of hosting gigs, and all kinds of other projects have come about after Housewives as well. So you kind of are able to do your own thing.
Yeah. Oh, that's a really funny thing you should say, because everything I do, like, they'll tell me, how do you get, like, who's your PR? It's like, I've never had PR in my life. And it was really funny because when I reached out to the ladies, I reached out to Joanna first and Karen, and right away they were on board. Adriana again was on board. But then some of the other ladies, I didn't hear from them until they came out in the Daily Mail and in People magazine. Then all of a sudden my calls were returned. It's like, hey, what's up? And then after that was over, it's like crickets. And that's what I'm talking about. It is that desperation for whatever it is. And it's like, I didn't do that for that. I didn't seek out. I didn't reach out to anybody to, like, somebody said, you're in Daily Mail. I'm like, what? How? Oh, cool. Awesome. And just like everything else I do, I think that the media is drawn to people that are legitimately doing things that then could be of interest to somebody, but that it's not being created to attract the media, and they can tell the difference. And just like the Housewife audience can tell the difference. And I don't know, I watch the reunions, and Andy, he's been doing this for a long time. And I always say it, Andy's a really smart guy. And I would love to see Andy like moderating a debate, like, or next to Anderson doing something else. So I think he's getting tired of it. There are some of the nonsense that his eyes just roll back and it's like, please, you know, I could tell.
So once Miami is back on the air, and I'm just speaking it into existence, will you be watching?
Oh, yes, of course. I'm a fan. I will absolutely be watching. Are you kidding? Of course. I watch all of them. I'm super excited about Salt Lake City. I'm not watching OC in honor of Tamra because, and I just, and Kelly, what's her name? Kelly. I can't stand her.
Oh my God, yes. I feel the same way about Kelly Dodd. I cannot watch with her on there, you know, and she says things that are just kind of like really, really crazy. And she seems to have no regrets about that. Do you have anything that you regret from the show?
One of my biggest regrets was saying ageist things about Leah, which I didn't realize I was doing that at the time, but like, sit down, you're gonna break a hip. And because I had the biggest fall the night of the election. If I show you, wait. And I thought, I almost like, I hit myself, like I fell on my hip. I'm like, I could totally break a hip now. Like, why do you know what I mean? And it brought me back to that time. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm like losing balance, you know, things like that are happening. So I do regret that.
Oh my God, yeah, that looks painful. You know, I want to thank you so much for taking some time out today to chat with us about, you know, the possibility of Real Housewives of Miami coming back. You know, I'm excited. I think that the fans are going to be really excited about this. And I can't wait to see what you do next. I know you have a lot of projects in the works that you can't quite talk about yet, but you'll have to definitely come back as soon as you can. And then we'll talk about those things. And maybe even have a little watch party.
Great. And I miss you so much, but I'm so happy that you're doing well. I know. I'm going to come visit you as soon as it's really safe to travel, because, I mean, every morning of our lives for a long time, it was just us. Even though you took the dressing room to yourself and I had to get dressed in that crappy little office, I still love you and miss you. I really do.
Oh my God, I love you and you too. Guys, that was Anna QUINCOCES from the Real Housewives of Miami. Listen, I will place all of her links down in the description down below. It was such a joy to be able to chat with my former co-host about the possibility of Real Housewives of Miami coming back. Her thoughts about it. Make sure you guys follow her. Get some of that Skinny Girl Latina product. Listen, that stuff is amazing. Put it all on your meats and chickens and all that good stuff. And I'll catch you guys in the next video.